I'm going to press on to aerodynamics and friction. So rolling resistance is a key part of your energy management. The lower the rolling resistance you have, the more efficient you can run your car. So how do you get the best rolling resistance? One of the things is you have to find areas where it introduces resistance. So bearings is one of the big areas, right? Most bearings are packed with a pretty heavy grease, and that's there so that if you're spinning a lot, the grease can take the temperature and actually roll very smoothly. However, that grease, because of the viscosity, adds a lot of resistance to the rotation. And so a lot of teams have looked at popping those bearings out, cleaning all the bearings and inside, and then putting a lighter oil inside that would reduce the rolling resistance. Something you can do. Tires with thin supple casings roll better than thick casings. It's really saying that your thinner tires, because they have an easier deflection, so when you set your car on the road, the weight of your car is going to deflect the wheel a bit to make it flatter, right? A thinner tire would be easier to have that deflection rather than a thicker tire. Now, of course, the con of that, the downside of that is if you do that, you have a higher risk of flats, and the efficiency you gain from a thinner tire may be counteracted by the time it takes to change your flat tire. Flat tires roll better than thin tires, and then lubrication and wheel alignment. Those are sort of key things to reduce your rolling resistance there. Okay. Now let's talk about aerodynamics. It's always a debate whether or not weight or aerodynamics is the critical part of running efficiently. My claim would be that weight matters for acceleration. Right? The more weight you have, the more current it will take to get your car up to speed. I would say that aerodynamics is a key factor once you get it up to speed, and you're at cruising speed. Aerodynamics play a bigger role. And so you can see that teams that focus on aerodynamics will try to put coverings on to flow the air in a smooth manner, including building things like fairings and things like that for their car. Believe that if you go through the effort of adding some weight to produce fairings like that, that added weight will be much saved for the efficiency by having better aerodynamics. And I think you will eventually use less power if you did this over the weight that you introduced by doing that. Now, that's if you made your fairings in a lightweight manner. If you saw in the previous picture, one of the materials you can use is a shrink wrap. It provides a way of having a quick way to make a body that encloses your car so that you don't have weird frame components sitting out disturbing the air. And so it's fairly easy to do. They sell big rolls of the shrink wrap that you can use, that you can apply heat to, and it shrinks down to the shape. What you can do is you can essentially tape the ends of it and then heat it up, and then it adheres to whatever surface that you apply to. And it's very easy to do. If you have a rip, you can just add some tape to it. We use that all the time as a way to make some type of aerodynamic shape. You can use very thin material, thin rods to create the structure and then tape that shrink wrap on there and heat shrink it. And so it's a very easy way without having to do carbon fiber or things like that to make a nice, clean aerodynamic shape. And one of the teams that does this best is the Iron Lions. You can see the way that their car is laid out. They do really thin tubes of rods, essentially, and then they put heat shrink on top of that. This is in pictures of just covering the bottom of a car, and so you can essentially cut these large rolls of heat shrink, tape it up, and then you can heat it up, and you can see it makes a nice, clean shape underneath, a nice smooth shape. Okay, and then of course from there they had to trim the body for where their tires and wheels go, and then they make fairings for that there. So this is a potential source for that. And of course, we say there's we would look at 7 mils as a nice thickness. If you go a little too thin, it makes it really easy to break, and then you're just ending up having to tape a lot. So you want something with some decent thickness that'll hold up to the race. Another consideration is if you go a little too thin, the heat of driving on the track or on the road could also cause the heat shrink to sag a bit. So the thicker the material, the more it holds its shape. Okay, and so that's a quick introduction to aerodynamics. We could have a lot longer discussion at another time, but at least in terms of how the simple things you can do to improve your aerodynamics, there's some examples of that. Anyone have any questions on this? Yes. Aerodynamics versus weight, I say that weight is when you bring it up to speed, so weight is a bit more important on a road race where you have lots of stops and starts, and then in terms of aerodynamics is, I think, more important on a track race.
Also, would you say, what weight do you think you probably the best of both worlds?
There's no number for the best balance between aerodynamics and weight. Every car design is different, and so I can't give you a number that says this is the weight you want. You just want to improve as much weight and as much aerodynamics as you can.